Okay. Ah! Ah! All right, what's going on? What's going on? I need to arrange my windows so I can see what is happening. Okay. Okay. Hello. We're live, I guess. I guess that's what's happening. Okay. Hi, everybody. I will figure out what I am doing eventually here. Hi, you get to see my goofy face this time. That's unusual. That's because I actually wrestled with OBS some this evening, and yeah, I managed to get the camera and my drawing tablet, which is right in front of my face here on my drafting table, uh, all connected, and hopefully everything is working. And if it's not working, please holler at me in the chat and be like, Amanda, we have problems. What is going on? But yeah, so I am going to be working on coloring the page from Prophets of Doom that we worked on penciling and inking on the stream previously. I have gotten the whole first issue of Prophets of Doom inked, and half of it has been sent off to the flatter and has come back to me. And so now I'm working on coloring because we want to have this done. Because we need to get this done. So we're going to do some coloring on the stream on the same page that we worked on previously. So here we go. Here's our lovely page 8 of issue 1. So the way I have it set up is I sent this off to the flatter. She sent it back to me, and I have the line art is on its own little layer. That's on a multiply layer and locked, so I can't like screw it up. Um, but it is multiply so that the black is going all the way, is like seen on top of everything, and I can color underneath it, under the white, and have that not affect any of the colors underneath it. I have highlights and shadows layers already set up. The shadows I currently have set also as a multiply layer so that the darks will sit on top of and blend with the colors underneath them, but there's nothing else on that. There's nothing on that layer so far. We're going to start working with that in just a minute. There is a colors layer, which is the layer that my flatter did, where she put all these nice, bright, very different colors all on top of it. These are not what the final colors are going to look like. I haven't really done anything other than clean this up a little bit, of just like go over and find a couple of areas where she didn't read my line art quite correctly and just fixed that a little bit. And below that, I just have a white layer. The reason I have a white layer below it is because I have her colors turned down to 50%, because if I turn them all the way back up, oh my god, they're so bright and intense. They're too bright and intense and difficult for me to work with. So we're going to turn that back down to 50% so that I still get the benefit of being able to select the very different color fields, which will make rendering the shadows a lot easier without having them like attack my eyes, because this is going to ultimately, I'm going to change the colors, all of the local colors, to be a like very limited color palette is the way that we're working. Like each scene has a pretty limited color palette to it. But the problem with that is that if I change all the colors first and then try to start selecting individual areas to render them, sometimes that limited color palette, the colors are a little bit too close to each other, and it makes it hard to select just the area you want to. It ends up selecting like something else that's next to it, which kind of defeats the purpose of having someone go through and flat everything in these nice, bright, very distinct colors. So that's why I'm doing things this way, and it's going to look a little goofy while it's in process, but it will get there. I promise. So I have my little pencil selected. We're going to start doing. We're just going to select not contiguous, all of this guy's skin, and we're going to start carving out some shadows. And yeah, this is going to look a little bit like goofy while it's in process, but I promise it will make sense eventually. So, yeah, while we are working on this, how is everybody doing? Hope everybody had a good weekend, a good week. Last week, I did not stream because I had one of those weeks. It was just one thing after another. I was trying to so this past weekend I was at the New England Odd and Unusual show in Burlington, New Hampshire, uh, and I was really looking forward to that show. Had a fair amount of work I wanted to get done before I left for it and everything, which is fine, but it's a long drive to Burlington from where I live. It's like a 6-hour drive because I live in the wilderness and I live in like northern Maine, and so you can't there's no direct route to get from northern Maine to northern New Hampshire or to northern Vermont, right? There's no direct east-west highway. So your options are either drive on a bunch of really windy 30-mile-per-hour back roads forever, or drive way out of the way on the highway, like all the way down to the bottom of Maine and down into New Hampshire and then over a little bit in New Hampshire and then back up into Vermont. None of the options are good. It's not easy to get there. I think I'm just gonna fill in like this whole area and then I'll zoom out and see if I hate that. We'll see. Don't don't badoom at me. Don't do that. I'm not sure if I like that or not. We'll see. I'll keep going. And also for the Odd and Unusual show, that one was a show where I had a 10 by 10 booth space, not just like an artist table that's like 6 or 8 feet or whatever. And so I have to bring a lot more like stuff than I do for an artist table, because to fill up a 10 by 10 booth, it's like I gotta bring my own tables and I gotta bring like the little backdrop and the wall to hang the artwork on and all of this kind of stuff. And that was not at all a problem when I owned a minivan, and now I don't own a minivan anymore. I have an SUV, and not like a huge SUV. It's not like one of the ones that has a third row or anything. It's just a Honda CRV. So it's like, okay, I can just barely get everything in here. We have to play some like Tetris to get everything to completely fit in there. Colors! Colors! Oh, you've never seen me doing this, Joe? It's been a while. I did a couple of these like coloring streams when I was working on I Am the First. And it's a similar technique. It's a little bit different. Like the way I'm doing this is a little bit different than how I did I Am the First, but pretty similar. Um, it's a different book, so it requires a little bit of a slightly different approach. But yeah, so then on like Monday last week, my car decided that it didn't want to start. And I was like, cool, I need to drive very far this weekend. There is, like, I can barely fit everything I need into this car. I absolutely will not be able to fit and everything I need into any other car I have at my disposal. So that's great. So I was like, okay, I have to get this into the mechanic, and hopefully it'll just be something simple and it'll be fixed in no time and everything will be fine. It is really satisfying watching people color. It can be like really fun. If ever you have any questions about what I am doing, just let me know. I kind of went over the way I have the file structured at the very beginning of the stream, but I'm always happy to explain stuff if you have questions. Yeah, so that was kind of stressful already. Just like, oh, is my car going to work or am I going to be like super screwed for this weekend? And so then, like, the day that the mechanic had available was Friday, or was Thursday, and I had to leave Friday morning, right? And so I'm like, okay, cool. It better get fixed exactly on Thursday. And so then, like, Thursday I had dropped the car off, and I'm like anxiously waiting for the car to whoops for the car, like, to hear that it was taken care of and everything. This was just one of the many crazy things that happened last week. But yeah, Thursday it was like I had to go to work in the evening, and then it was like maybe half an hour before I was going to go to work. I finally get the call from the mechanic, and they're like, "It's ready. You can come get it." And I was like, "Yay, great!" But that means I'm going to be late for work, which whatever. So I headed down to pick up my car, and I text my coworker, who is also one of my best friends, and I'm like, "Hey, I'm gonna be late because I have to go pick up my car." I mean, she knew what the situation was. It's like my car is ready at the mechanic. I gotta go and get it. I'll be a little bit late, but just if you need help, just call our other coworker to come and like keep you company at the office until I can get there. Um, but I'll be there in, like, as soon as I can. And so I'm on my way to the mechanic to get my car, and then I get this panicked text from my friend, and she's like, "So I was just heading out the door to go to work, and then I got a call from my wife who, like, tripped and fell down the stairs. I have to go take them to the emergency room and make sure that they didn't break anything." And I was like, "Oh my God. Yes, please take care of that. That is way more important than making sure the office is open in time. That is so, like, the least of our worries. Please take care of that." Hey, someone saying, "Thanks for joining me." And so then I have to call our other coworker, which, just to remind anyone, I don't expect everyone to remember like what this goofy situation is at the town office job, but there's two of us who are like the entire office staff. Like, if you go into your town hall and someone is like waiting at the window to help you and does things to help you with stuff, and then there's like also a whole bunch of other folks milling about in the office doing things like to help your average citizens moving pieces of paper around. That's like that entire staff of people is just the two of us. And then we have one other coworker. We are the only like three actual employees of the town. And our other coworker is like the so we're like all of administration for the town, the two of us. And then our other coworker is like the like chief executive, I guess you could say. She's the first selectman, which is also like the town manager, which is a very important job, and there's a lot of stuff that she has to do, but she does not do any of the administrative stuff. Like, does not actually have the capability, is legally not allowed to do the administrative stuff because of her position as the first selectman. So like I called I called her and I was like, "Hey, so I know you can't actually help anybody, but can you just go like open the office and let people know I will be there soon?" Like, explained the whole situation to her, and she's like, "Oh my God, yes, I will go and like just let people know what's going on, and I hope everybody is okay." It's just very emblematic of how like my whole week was going last week. And Yeah, hey Spud. Yeah, it's been a long time. I don't do this super often. I think, oh my gosh, I can't. The last one like this that I did must have been years ago when I was working. Oh my god, no, that's not what I wanted to do. Sorry about that. Would have been years ago when I was working on I Am the First. I did a couple of coloring streams. Similar situation. I was just trying to get some of this stuff done. We are we are trying to meet our deadlines is what we are doing. And sometimes the stream just needs to exist to help me meet my deadlines. Sometimes that's what we have to do. All right, back over to Bumgower here, or Bumgardner. I forget what his name is. Bumgardner, I think it is. I don't. It's something very silly like that. Okay, sadness. This his hair was too close to the speaker, so speaker color. So I'm just gonna have to be careful here. Usually my face is not on the camera. I have to be all conscientious of not making some goofy face or sticking my tongue out or something while I'm doing this. Normally I get to just hide in the darkness away from you all. What is it? There's like a yeah, it's like a stray pixel. Do 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 do. Yeah. So then I had the New England Odd and Unusual show this weekend, which I did the one in Augusta before, and I had attended the one in Augusta before, and those were really good, and so I had very high hopes for this, but unfortunately it was not super well attended. The attendance was kind of a lot lower than I expected, and I think lower than the organizers expected too. It was a pretty nice weekend. I'm sure that didn't help. I obviously I don't live in the Burlington area, so I couldn't tell you what their advertising game was like out there. I know they had done a lot of pushing on social media, but that doesn't necessarily like translate to the real world, which is sad but true. I had a good time and there was lots of cool stuff there, and I had fun like visiting friends out in Vermont. It was just a little bit of a disappointing crowd, and so the sales were a little bit soft as a result, which, what are you gonna do? Pesky pixels running away, escaping me. Oh, yeah, I was gonna clean up his sideburn there a little bit. Do, 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 do. Also, while we were on on Sunday morning, the we were sitting in our hotel having breakfast. My husband came with me for this trip because it's like it's a long drive. I definitely did not need to be doing that on my own. Um, and whenever it's feasible for like finding someone to watch the kids and everything else that's going on in our lives, he likes to come along on the trips. I enjoy having him come along on the trips because then we get to like hang out together and have a little like time away from the house and everything, and try to make it more of like a fun excursion so that even if the show doesn't go super great, it's still like, ah, well, we still had a nice little getaway together. um but yeah, we were sitting in the hotel dining room having our breakfast, and then all of a sudden the fire alarm went off, and we're just kind of like looking at each other for a second like, is this really happening? Is this a thing that's really happening right now? And the kitchen staff, like, you could they came out, like some of the hotel staff came out of the kitchen and they're looking around like, what the heck, like, why is the smoke alarm going off, what is going on? And then they are like, I don't know. And so then we all get up and we start heading out. And so I'm like, we're standing outside, like in the driveway of the hotel, with the like a couple of the hotel staff members and like the innkeeper's kid, as the innkeepers are like bopping in and out trying to like get all the guests out, and they're like going around and like checking everywhere they can think of, like, no, I didn't see anything here, I didn't see anything there, like, I think it's just a false alarm, I don't know why it went off. They're like, but we can't reset it, the fire department has to reset it. And we were staying in, oh, that was silly, we were staying in like a relatively, we weren't staying right in Burlington, we were staying in like a relatively small town outside of there because hotels in Burlington are stupid expensive. So we were staying a little ways outside of town, and they're like, yeah, but it's like a volunteer fire department, so it might take a little while before they get here. And they're the only ones who can reset the alarm. So we're just standing out in the driveway for like 20, 30 minutes waiting for the fire department to show up and turn off the fire alarm. And I'm just like, of course, this is what happened today. This is very much in keeping with how everything has been this week and this particular trip. So silly. All right, and we're in like a dark bar, so there's going to be quite a fair amount of shadows here. Whoops, this layer, not that layer, this layer. Yeah, I think that's the only spot where we've got his pants. I'm gonna finish up some of this figure. Oh, annoying. Gotta get his tie down here. Alright, so that's most of Baumgartner. Baumgartner. And then we're going to do Wickle. These guys are just so ridiculous. That's a very silly looking situation here. Let's clean this up a little bit. Make these fingers look more like actual fingers and less like weird little sausages. Wiggle's great big bald head. Do 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 do. All right, sausage fingers. Definitely a probably when I'm trying to draw quickly, but attempting to find a style I could use to do pages quickly so I can convince myself to actually create a comic. That can be the challenge. That big old melon. Yeah, I mean, a lot of so I definitely I'll preface this by saying I'm not the person to come to look for tips on being faster, not and having non-labor intensive styles. That's for darn sure. Uh, a lot of the place where I've picked up the most speed over the years is in the actual drawing stage, and that's really just a matter of like getting more comfortable with drawing certain things. Like for my comic, all of my characters I can draw really quickly because I've drawn them many, many times. And that's why, like, when I work on something like this book, like Prophets of Doom, like, part of why it takes me a lot longer to draw is because I'm drawing characters I haven't drawn thousands of times. And so it just takes a little longer for me to, like, get them right because I'm not as comfortable with them. Uh, yeah. Problem not. Oh, I see. Sausage. I see. I see. Okay. Yeah. I I follow now. Darn autocorrect. But yeah, Age of Night definitely has a very labor intensive style, which is also why I've been working on it for a bajillion years and it's not done yet. So, I mean, there's a lot of reasons for that. Also, like, I know I don't ever work on Age of Night to the exclusion of other projects, which is part of why it's always just the personal project that I go back to keep working on, but I don't like ever pass up paid work or collaborations or anything like that in order to work on it, which is why sometimes it moves very slowly or sometimes it gets backburnered for a little while, and that just is what happens because it's the personal project. It's not the project that is paying my bills. But the fact that it is also in a very labor intensive style also contributes to how slowly it goes. Overthinking everything can also be a serious problem. Refine some of these shapes a little bit. Do, 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 do. Clean up some of these lines. This guy. Yeah, and the getting stuck overthinking everything, I think that's part of why I've always found it really useful to, like, that's part of why I approached making Age of Night as a webcomic. Not that I necessarily had any particular interest in, like, having a webcomic as a thing, um, but just that it created a deadline that I had to always meet, which was I have to try to get a new page out every week. And maybe I don't always succeed at that, but I succeed at it more often than I fail at it, which means that having that constant deadline, having to constantly just produce another page, means that I have to complete something. I can't just have it exist in this, like, I'm thinking about it and I'm working about on it and I'm like, but it's not quite there, and I don't like have any kind of pressure to ever get it to be all the way there. um it's very useful to have some kind of enforced deadline, and that's, I think, like, I did it kind of accidentally at the time just because I wanted to, like, I knew it would be a while before I got enough pages for like a full book to make volume one, and so I just wanted people to be able to read it while I was working on it still. But then it ultimately ended up being, I think, the only way that I would have ever made as much of it as I have. Is because it's like, oh well, now I got to keep doing it because now I have like I have to update every week, even if basically no one's reading it, or even if that's a little bit arbitrary ultimately, but it did make me keep doing stuff and finishing stuff. Because it's just so easy if you don't have an actual deadline. And projects where I don't have a deadline, projects where it's like, ah, yes, this is a personal project that I would like to get to someday, but I don't have any reason to actually finish it. Like, nothing is making me finish it. That stuff's not done. It's never going to be done until I, like, end up having an actual, like, until I end up having to, like, finish it for, like, an anthology submission or something where there's a deadline. It's just not going to ever happen because there's no deadline. There's nothing forcing me to finish it, and there's always going to be something that needs to get done on a deadline, so it's just not gonna happen. And I'm not saying that that necessarily will work for everybody. I know some people find the whole, like, the pressure of, okay, well, you have to get this done right now, find that to be like, just kind of sends them into a panic, and it doesn't actually help. And if that's the case, then obviously don't do that to yourself. Don't, like, force yourself to panic and freeze. Um, but personally, I found that the way that my brain worked, having it, or the way my brain works, having a deadline and having a some kind of urgency to make me finish something is about the only way that stuff gets done. Is there, like, there's like a little bug that is entranced by the light coming off of my tablet. Please go away, little bug. Oh yeah, and also while I was in Vermont, I got to stop by Old Town Comics Cafe in Williston, which is, like, right next to, also in, like, the greater Burlington area. So it was like 10 minutes away from the convention. And that was really cool. Hadn't seen the Bags Brothers in a while. And I got my comp copies of their variant cover for the Prophet's Ashcan, which is so good. It looks so good. I love it so much. Whoops. Um, yeah, and they have a really cute little place there. So if you're in the Burlington area, you should definitely check it out if you have not before. I guess there was, like, a different owner previously, and, like, the place has gone through, like, some, I guess, some, like, rebranding and name change. So if you were there a while ago and you're like, I remember that place, I don't know if I want to go back, it's like a totally different thing now. Current owners are very cool, and it's a really nice little shop. We talked about possibly heading back out there sometime and doing some kind of event, maybe when this book is out. So we'll see if that happens. That would be very fun. Step one, I need to actually finish this book. That might be good. That might be a good thing to do. Alright, I need to clean that up a little bit. So it's looking quite lumpy. Make that a little less lumpy. Yeah, that's better. Whoops. No, that's not what I wanted to do. Oh, it's so annoying. Why are these all different colors? Okay. It's fine. It's fine. We'll make this work. I'm just going to ignore all of those other things I'm not trying to color right now. I'm just going to get these buttons. And little suspender clips. Say that is good. Okay. Okay, I've ended up looking really silly. Okay, let's try that again. Oh, lordy. Yeah, so the color looks different because I have it on a multiply layer, so it's not only it's not its own color that you're seeing, it's actually blending with the colors that it's laid over. Um, that is, I think I just like screwed up. Why are his eyes going in different directions? I absolutely just screwed up the drawing on this one and did not notice. So that's fun. I'll have to think about how I want to fix that. His eyes just happen to be pointing in different directions. That's fine. Totally normal. So yeah, the I'm using like this very dark brown color. Um, yeah, yeah, and so it's mixing with like the flesh tones differently than it's gonna mix with the light blue on the glass. Um, it's going to mix with every color just a little bit differently. And all of this too, I'm not super worried about what the colors are looking like at this point. I'm still using the flatters, like very bright colors, just so that it's easier to select out the areas that I want to, and I'll be switching them over to like the final colors after I do all the shadows. Which is why I have the color layer turned down halfway right now, because they're actually like really super intense and bright, which is not how we want them. And that's actually kind of distracting while I'm trying to work on doing the shadows right now. So I have everything just muted a little bit so that it's not quite so in your face while I'm doing this. Saving. Don't forget to save. It's important. Yeah, yeah. That is like if I that's very frequently how I do a lot of these shadows, because it's like I don't like when you're doing a comic coloring, it's like I don't really have time to do a really amazingly color theoried, like every shadow is its own like nice harmonious perfect complement to whatever color it's adjusting. That's just not like very practical when you're trying to do a whole comic page, or a whole lot of comic pages for that matter. uh, and so that's why I like to do the multiply layer, so that at least the colors are, you know, playing nice with each other. I'm sure some people think that that's like a really offensive way to color, but that's fine. I'm not trying to please them. All right, we're getting the last 10-ish minutes of this stream. The time does fly when you're coloring things. So I'm just going to go over the YouTube stuff, which I think I actually neglected to go over some of it at the beginning because I wasn't even sure if my stream was running, because it's been a while since I've tried to do anything with OBS. So I was kind of on the struggle bus. But I'm Amanda Call, and this is my channel, and this is a comic page from Prophets of Doom, which is written by Joe Schmolke and drawn by me. The ash can for Prophets of Doom is currently available. Joe is going to have a cool Midnight Factory preview comic available at San Diego Comic-Con, not this weekend, but the weekend after. And that will have some of the Prophets preview pages in it as well, which is very fun. You can check out more stuff about Prophets of Doom at Midnight Factory's website, midnightfactorypress.com. Oh my gosh, what is going on with this guy's face? This is going to require a little bit of sculpting to figure out what I want to do here. He just kind of looks like he played in the mud right now. Let's see. On this channel, I usually go live just about every Tuesday at 8 p.m. Eastern, unless my life is on fire like it was last week. Hopefully we won't have any more interruptions for a little bit. I'm gonna have to look at my reference. This guy's face is weird. Anyway, yeah, so if you like to watch me work on comics and talk about what I'm doing in my process, you should subscribe. Not really satisfied with his. He's got like a very weird, like, he's got a very weird face. I'm not really satisfied with how that's turning out. I'm going to have to pull up my reference and figure out what's going on there because I don't like that. I'm just going to get rid of all of it for right now because it's making me irritated. Somewhere along the lines, I kind of lost the form there, so we're gonna start that over next time because I'm not liking how that's turning out. Okay, so we've gotten a pretty good start on rendering our shadows for our different characters here. Uh, yeah, so next time we're going to continue to work on this page and hopefully get a little bit farther, get it closer to being done. So thanks everybody for hanging out with me. I will see you all next time. Bye.